everyone.
Recording in progress.
Hey, Sloot.
Hey, hi.
You set a record today, all-time Sky leading scorer and also made shots leader as well, and you surpassed your wife in both of those categories. To do that here in only the fourth game of the season, to kind of get that record out of the way, one, what does that record mean to you? And two, has there been any conversation between you and Allie competitively about you surpassing her record?
Well, first, for what it means to me, the most is just my time spent here. Obviously, it took me 1,000 years to do it, but I think it speaks to like the commitment that I made to the Chicago Sky, and their commitment to me as well. They drafted me and let me kind of develop, and it wasn't always easy. We had a lot of tough seasons. And so that means the most to me. I try not to get attached to individual records, because records are meant to be broken, and this one will be at some point. But for me to pass my wife, I think it kind of speaks, kind of what I talked about is our commitment together to this franchise. And she spent less years here than I did, and she's a scorer and deserves this record. But I think she's gonna let me hold on to it for a while. We have some conversations, and it's basically just if anyone's going to beat it, she's glad it's me. But we'll be a 1-2 punch for a while.
And then just to get back to the game, in the last 4 minutes, you guys went on a 16-8 run. There was a timeout right around the media timeout. What was said in that timeout for you guys to kind of lock in and come out with the win offensively?
I think the biggest message was to not focus so much on winning the game, but making winning plays. I think that's kind of our message moving forward is we desperately wanted to win. We can't deny that, but I think our focus should be on making winning plays, whatever that takes, and I think that's what you saw. People focus. I think everybody at one point in the fourth quarter probably made a winning type play, and that's what we're going to need every single night.
We'll go Julia, then Jason, then Rashad.
Courtney, going back to the record, I know you said that you don't kind of try to keep track of those things. How aware of that were you coming into tonight? Did you know which basket it was going to happen on? It didn't seem like the first time they shouted you out on the Jumbotron that you really noticed it. So just kind of what was that like for you?
Yeah, I knew going into the game, but I had lost track of how many points I actually had, and so I was unaware until I heard the crowd, and I was like, wait a second. And then I looked up and I saw the camera was on me. So I knew that the points that I had to get, but I was so focused on the game that, but I think it was a perfect moment, big plays down the stretch to help us get the win. To get the record would have not been as exciting if we didn't get the win tonight, for sure.
And then that dagger play that you guys had at the end felt like kind of a snapshot of what Tyler and you and kind of this whole team has described of wanting this team's ethos to be pick and roll, the way that the bigs were passing, the kick out, of all of that. Just kind of what do you think can be learned about who the Sky can be kind of from that play for that dagger shot?
Yeah, I think that when we play together, we move the ball and everybody's kind of clicking, that we're going to be hard to guard. I think when we focus on just one action, teams can kind of shrink the floor on us, and they've been doing that. I think we got paint touches to sprays, and that was a big play that everybody touched it, and it ended up with a big shot aerial. That's what I talk about when I say winning plays. I think Mill probably could have shot it, but she made the extra. Same with Angel. Angel made the extra. That's unselfish basketball in a really big moment.
Courtney, you're talking about being desperate for that win at the end, and you this deep in your career, the things that you've played for, championships, things like that, we see the emotion when you get that layup near the end. What is it that gives you that fire on a Thursday night game in May, early in the season?
I think it's just how much, all of it, the whole story, coming back to the Sky, kind of our struggles early, being back in front of all the Sky fans, a great crowd tonight on a Thursday night, all of those emotions I hate being that person that's so desperate for wins, because, it's hard to win in this league, and I've been on teams that we've had struggles, but like I said, if you focus on the right things, the winning usually take care of itself. And I think that was kind of all the emotions of the last few weeks. and how much we're really all committed and putting into this. You know, it's easy to lose 4 games and 3 games, 4 games, 4. Damn. And kind of, you know, you see teams start to disconnect, but that isn't the case for this team, and I think that's what you saw tonight and how much we can enjoy each other, play for each other, and you know, hopefully that results in a lot more wins.
We'll go Rashad, then Alyssa. No follow-ups, please.
Okay, I know you've already talked about it a little bit, but just talk about, in retrospect, when you first got to the team, just some of the people that helped you along the way, and then you returning, just how you want to help the future of this team.
Yeah, that's all of those reasons, a big reason why I came back, you know, just because of the people that are still here that took a chance on me out of college, and like I said, let me grow, let me develop, really trusted me to lead this team. And a lot of those people are still here. The roster looks a lot different, but those people that really invested in the management, front office, all of those, you know, they mean everything to me, and it's really important to me that I leave this place better than when I came. And that's a big reason why I came back, and I think they're doing a great job of building for the future. We got great youth, and you know, I think that I just am glad to be a part of that.
We'll go Alyssa, then Brian, right on your left.
Courtney, Tanisha Wright was honored before the game. What has her impact been on you and the team so far?
She's been awesome for us. You know, she's a loud voice. She's a winner. She knows how to win in this league. She keeps us all, you know, on the straight and narrow. She's tough, and I love that about her. I mean, we kind of can go back and forth, and you know, she knows that I'll take it, and she's hard on me, and I appreciate that. You know, being 15 years in the league, to have a coach that really, you know, can hold me accountable. She's very important to this team.
Brian, then Sean.
Sloot, you guys earlier in the season you know, had difficulties of withstanding runs, but what was different for you tonight in that area?
Yeah, I think just our focus on making winning plays, getting stops when we really needed it, knowing, I think, you know, Tyler was great about calling timeouts during those runs and being able to stop the bleeding. And just our connectivity in the huddle, knowing, okay, that's their run, they're a good team. Teams in this league are always going to make runs, and just being able to withstand it and then turn around and make plays on the offensive end and do it together. We had big people step up at different times all game, and that's huge for us.
We'll go Sean, Zachary, then close out with Julia.
Sloot, I was just wondering, what does it mean to you to have an organization and a league that pays such close attention to issues like the KYAL fund and all the stuff around that?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and obviously it's very dear to my heart. You know, I just had lost my mom to cancer, and so for this, you know, the league, especially the team, to kind of pour into that, and whether it's awareness or fundraising, it's a big deal, and we can impact a lot of people. And you know, I think that's the biggest job that we should have as professional athletes with our platform, is just being able to impact and touch people's lives.
Zachary, second row on your right.
Hey, Sloot, what does it mean to you to be able to, you know, not only just, you know, break the record, but also to be able to come out on top, first win of the season, and to be able to do so in dramatic fashion, really a thrilling back and forth type of game?
Yeah, it was a big win for us. Big night all around. You know, I think that we came in this, you know, hyper focused, knowing that we're going to play them again, just wanting to set the tone, and kind of, you know, I kind of harped on it a lot, make winning plays, and you know, we're going to continue to do that.
Last question from Julia, front row on your right again.
This version of Camila, we've seen it in flashes throughout her pro career. As you're getting to know her as a vet, what do you think it takes to kind of get that out of her on a consistent basis? What have you found is kind of the right touch and right approach to take with her?
I think she needs to touch the ball a lot. You know, we have to play through her. She likes to feel it, and she's so unselfish. She's a great passer, and I think she understands the game really well. And so we have to play through her more often. Just knowing that, like, getting the matchups that we like with her. I think she touched on the first 4 or 5 possessions, and that, you know, that is huge for us, setting the tone, getting paint points, and she also knows when to kick it out. You know, and to have a 6'7" post player like that, she's got to get a lot of touches for us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Tyler will be next.